More Bramleys. Trying to keep up. Well, I haven't picked any for ages, so I'm pleased I did today, so I thought I'd better. My ginger is growing, and I saw somewhere that this should be planted in a long container because ginger grows lengthwise, along, horizontally. There's something else coming there. I did nothing special with this. I just cut a bit off and chucked it in because I thought, oh, I'll try and grow some ginger. So nothing special happened to it, and that's done really well. Sourdough in here. That didn't get the correct treatment yesterday because I had to get it to a certain point and then chuck it in the fridge because we went out. But I'm waiting for that just a little while longer and then I'm going to cook it, hopefully. I do need to pick the apples off that tree, which is the eating apples. And I noticed, hold on a minute, one quince on the quince tree. That used to do really well, and then it's had years of doing nothing. Now that's not going to be ripe until it starts to go furry. And in my experience, waiting for it, it's rotted before it's gone furry. But yeah, I did used to do stuff with the quince. I don't think you eat apples, Ida. Do you? Just because the chickens do. Having a bit of salad, which is what we had yesterday. So I've learned, had quite a few insights into what's going on inside my body when I'm eating with regard to glucose. And I know that I'm always aware if I've eaten something that is sugary. I'm always aware of my body dealing with it. But to watch it on a graph has been fascinating. And that jam I had the other day, I think I mentioned it, it took my body over 3 hours to deal with it, to get on top of, to bring my glucose levels down. And then interestingly, over the early hours of that night and morning, I had two what you would classify as hypos. I wasn't aware of them, luckily, but my sugar really dipped, my glucose really dipped. And I think I've learned, because I learned something, my sister sent me a link to a video the other day about what happens to those of us that are insulin resistant, is that the insulin isn't able to get into the cells to deal with the sugar content or the sugar that you've eaten, or isn't able to deal with it, and piles up on the outside of cells. So I think these dips were as a result of the piled up insulin that had been trying to deal with the jam, the small amount of jam that I'd had. And I think I ended up with too much insulin, which pushed my glucose down. So it was fascinating. And then yesterday we went off to look for a car, and we came back and we stopped halfway at a restaurant we've been in before. That's quite nice food. I'm not wanting to go back there because all the tables for two are around the toilet. I don't think I want to go back there, but the food was really nice. And I had a tatin legume, which was a really small, I mean, the tart was hardly anything, and a nice layer of vegetables. Really, really, really tasty. And I think it had got a soup spoon of dried tomato mashed up on top of it. and it had a bit of salad with it. So I ate the salad first because I've also understood that if you eat the salad and the greens first, it slows down what's coming in next. It's better to eat your greens first, then your protein, then your fat, then your carbs. So I ate the salad, very little because it's France. It's just a small amount of decor really on the plate. So I had that, and then I had the burger because I wanted chips. And of course, I just want the burger, the meat. I'm not interested in the bun. I never am. I always take the top bun off, and often don't eat the bottom bun. And that's what I did yesterday. So I had the chips, but I had the meat, but I didn't have the bun. So the bun was left at the end of the meal. And there was bread served. You always get a basket of bread with your food, and I didn't touch the bread. So I felt really full. I felt really full that if I'd eaten the bread or the bun, I would have been bursting. Mark had a dessert, I didn't, because I just was really full. Um, and I know I, and then I'd watched a Zoe podcast um, about um, ultra processed food. I've watched a few of those about ultra processed food, and the professor, female professor, I think from New Zealand, I'm not sure. Um, that's bad, isn't it? But that, like me, I haven't planned what I'm going to talk about. She talked about things that you can do and how you can eat, what you can eat to help um, undo a bit of what ultra processed food may have done. Well, we don't really eat ultra processed food, not to any degree. Um, so on our way after the restaurant, we went and I picked up 2 bags of crudité, which was cabbage, carrot, and beetroot. 2 packs of that because I love stuff like that. A packet of green salad leaves. I don't normally buy those things, but I just thought I've noticed that the salad's gone off quite quickly if I've not used it. So I thought I'll use stuff that is not great quantities. So the packet of green leaves and some haricots blanc, which are just white beans. And so last night our meal at 6 was a pack of the crudité, a third of the pack of the salad, a tin of tuna, and half of the it's a 400-gram tin, half of the tin of beans, mixed with lots of olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Not lots of balsamic vinegar because I didn't have much, so I had to add. I'd got a white wine vinegar, so I added some of that as well, and that was really lovely. It was a very healthy meal to end with because I haven't got back up to speed with the sourdough. Um, and watching my glucose just not really doing anything apart from sitting gently dealing with what I'd eaten rather than thinking, what the fuck's that? What are we meant to do with that? And it's just fascinating, and I think motivating to. I think even though we know, you think you think actually seeing something, measuring what you're eating, is quite motivating to change or not do that. Not have that bit of jam. It was less than 2 teaspoons because I don't spread it on thickly like Mark does. Less than teaspoons of jam, but it had a massive impact. Um, I had I bought chocolate mousses when I bought the salad, and I had a small one of those for my dessert yesterday afternoon because I didn't have the big dessert in the restaurant, and it hardly made any difference, which was pleasing. So yes, it's fascinating, and I didn't have any dips overnight, and I woke up and it was very low. Oh, and the other thing I hadn't quite put 2 and 2 together with, which Mark suggested could be, I said to him, I don't understand why during the morning, and I'm still not eating, I've not eaten since 6 o'clock last night, but during the course of the morning, my glucose is starting to rise. And I haven't given my body any food. I don't understand that. He said, well, maybe that's where your body's now reaching into the glucose stores. So if that's correct, I'm very happy with that, because that's what this is about, is that your body starts to have to get in and get some of those stores out that it's put away in case of famine. Um, so I'm quite pleased about that, if that's true. And since we've started tweaking this fasting window since we started, and it's been iffy because we've had visitors and whatever. It's not been solid for, it probably started a couple of weeks ago. It's not been a solid 2 weeks. I've lost 2 kilos. So I'm really pleased about that. That's inspiring as well. So yeah, so we went out, looked at a car, and the car we wanted that we'd seen online wasn't actually on the lot. And the guy we saw, I'm sure, is the guy that sold us the Touran. And we spent quite a bit of time there, and he said that it's off at the, I think he said the restoration shop, but it's off being sorted, ready for sale. So a used car comes in and it has things that need doing and cleaning, and tighten this bolt and check these tires before it comes onto the lot. And I think that's where it is. And he said that he would contact us to say when it's back, but we needed to reserve a viewing because quite often they're sold before they get back to the lot. And we don't want that to happen because we lost a car a couple of months ago when we were thinking, oh, that might, we go and look at that, and it was sold before we got there. So we've sort of reserved a look at it, but it nearly got down to me signing the contract, and I said to him, well, hold on a minute, if we sign this, we're committing to buy. I don't want to commit to buy an unseen car. We need to see it first. So we didn't sign the contract. I've got a copy of it, but we didn't sign it. And we're going to go back. He's going to contact us. We'll go back and look at it, and then we're going to have to go backwards and forwards because we need to take the Touran in. There's some things that we want to get done to that needed doing or were highlighted on the last control technique. We want to get that done, and then we want to get it validated before we hand it over to Joe. So we're going to have to go backwards and forwards a few times. I hate driving up to Poitiers and back. It's not far. It's like 45 minutes, which was nothing 10 years ago. But now it's like, oh God, we've got to do that today. It's just, yeah, I just don't really enjoy going out and doing journeys any longer. Anyway, that's that. So that's the news from here. And I'm going to put the bread in the oven now. We're having that duck breast today that I had too many of. I bought too many of last week when Viv and John were here. So I've got 2 out to defrost. So I'm going to do duck breast and sweet potatoes and haricot vert and blueberry sauce. But that's made with the blueberry jam that meant my blood sugar went up mad. But I think I'll do an entree, so I think we'll have a salad to start, so that might keep things at bay. We'll see. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a good day. It's Sunday. It's Sunday all day.